Straight away you'll notice the crackling that's occurring as the skin starts to blister, which is exactly what you want. Might be a little bit awkward to balance these things. And I'm using these lovely little baby peppers. I don't know what variety they are, but they're very small. And this time I'm going to do this with all of the peppers. And the reason I'm doing this to the peppers, even though they're going to be cooked in the dish itself, is that I want to get this black charred skin, because that's where a lot of the flavour is, and you're not going to get that just by cooking it in a stew. The only way to get that is to actually almost barbecue the peppers. Now be very careful when you're doing this, because you don't want to burn yourself. But what you do want to do is that you do want to burn these peppers. I'm using some different coloured peppers this time. I think they'll probably taste exactly the same. It just gives a bit of different, bit of colour to the dish. Get on with that. And what's happening inside the pepper is that it's going to be steaming, so it's going to be cooking it from the inside as well. Anyway, while I'm doing this, I shall put the video on fast forward so you're not having to watch this in real time, because I'm sure you get the idea now. You can do this with a blowtorch, of course. If you've got one of the little chef's blowtorches, you can do that. It's just the same. It's just, for me, it's just as easy to pile these up around the grill. So now that you've got the peppers charred, we'll place them into a plastic bag to sweat. And what this is going to do, it's going to allow the skin to come off really easy. So we'll go back into fast frame and get the job done. So as you can see, I'm putting these individually as they become ready into the plastic bag. And because they're hot, they'll continue to cook whilst in the bag. We're down to the last few. There we go, all in the bag. As you can see, it's full of steam, so that's going to help loosen them skins. So tie the bag up and set it aside for a while. Allow the magic to occur. Just like that. And now we're on to the main part of the cooking. So what we're going to start off with, in a large pan, we're going to add plenty of good quality olive oil. Seems to be quite a lot, but you have to bear in mind that it's going to produce a lot of food, so it's not actually that much. And we're starting off by heating the oil, and we're going to add some of the first ingredients, which are 3 small or 2 medium-sized onions, which I've just roughly chopped into about 1/2 inch pieces. We've got some lovely whole shallots. There's about 4 medium-sized carrots into rings, and 3 small parsnips, or 2 medium ones. It doesn't really matter, you can put any veg in that you like, but this is what I got, so they're going in. give it all a good stir. Get those vegetables coated in oil, and that will start the caramelization process off. The next tray is, we've got some mushrooms. These are chestnut mushrooms. We've got a whole head of celery, which I've just chopped up roughly, including the leaves. Now the mushrooms, I would normally put some button mushrooms in, whole, but unfortunately there were none at the shop, so I've ended up with chestnut mushrooms which I've sliced. And I've chopped into pieces that are approximately the same size as a button mushroom. So again, we'll give that a good stir and get all the vegetables coated in oil. Now these are the peppers that we prepared earlier. I'm going to remove them, de-seed them and take off the ends. And this is what you get in the bag, and as you can see, the black skin just rubs off. Now you want to be aiming to get most of the really badly burnt stuff off, but you'll not get all of it off. In fact, you don't want all of it off, because that is where your flavour is. So what I'm doing in the background is I'm chopping these peppers into little bits, into slices, into chunks, stirring the vegetables, as you can see. And now these are the peppers. They can go in. Now, as I said, I've used a mixture of red and yellow peppers. It doesn't really make any difference whether they're red or yellow. The flavour's the same. Personally, I don't like green peppers. I don't think they've got quite the fullness of flavour, but that's a personal thing. So I'll give it a stir. There's now some nice caramelisation going on in that pan, and with the caramelisation comes the flavour. I'll just show you this. See, coming along nicely. Now on the plate we've got some paprika, smoked paprika. We've got some powdered mushrooms, about this many. They were dried mushrooms, and 3 bay leaves. The dried mushrooms were shiitake and 1 or 2 others, I forgot the actual ones. And I just blitzed them in the blender. The smoked paprika, we've got half and half, which is spicy or picante, and sweet, which is dulce. That's about half and half, a good amount, and this is going to give it a lovely smoky flavour. Now as you can see, adding the powder, I sucked up the juices out of the pan straight away. So what we've got to do now is add some water, and that's going to immediately start to sizzle because it's already boiling water. I'm drawing it from the boiler, as you can hear. So I'm putting in 2 cups full, or a cup and a half of water, just enough to cover the bottom of the pan. Give it a good stir. And now we're well on our way to producing a lovely dish. So now that's all amalgamated together, I can put that to one side. Because we finished with that for the time being. The next process is the frying off of the meat, so we'll put this to the back and go on to move on to the next part. Now here I've got a heavy stainless steel pan, again plenty of good quality olive oil, and on the plate I've got some plain flour. to which I've added some sea salt and some black pepper, as you can see, and give it a good mix so it's all mixed in well. And then what we're going to do in this seasoned flour is dip the pieces of meat, shake off the excess, and we're going to fry it in the oil to get some caramelization, aka flavour, going on the outside of that meat. Now it's important not to overfill the pan, so we don't do it all and just throw it all in, because what will happen is that the meat will start to sweat and the flour that you're putting on will just turn into paste, like a mush. So you don't really want to be doing that. Just put enough in the pan so that you've got a reasonable coating, like that. Allow this meat to sit there until it's formed a skin, a crust, as you can see, which is usually, it's only a couple of minutes, and then turn them over. And the flour is going to help to thicken the sauce in the dish as it cooks. So I shall continue with these. And making sure that they're all caramelized and sealed. As you can see, it's like magic. My fingers are not really that quick. It's a lovely dish, this. As you can see, the meat's got a nice brown coating on it now, so we can put that batch into the pan and start off with the next batch. And do the same thing again. You can add a little more oil to the pan if you need it. And get these frying away. That's that batch done. So that's the meat finished. Now, as you can see in the bottom of the pan, there's a lot of sediment sticking to it. That's flavour that we're going to add to the dish. So we need to deglaze this pan. Deglaze just means removing all the bits that stuck to it. So I'm using about a third of a bottle of red wine, into which I shall add about 2 cups of water, just to bring up the volume, or a cup of water. That's me drawing boiling water from the coffee machine, like that. And into that, just as you can see, I'm just giving it a stir, and you'll loosen those bits on the bottom. The aim is to get the pan as clean as possible, because you want all that flavour, all that sediment into the liquid, which will become the gravy of the dish. As you can see, it comes off quite easily. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some garlic, and in this case I've got sliced garlic and some stock. Now I'm using the jellified stock because I find it rather nice. We've got 1 dark beef and 1 light beef, because I don't want it too strong. So that's the dark one in, and this is the other one, and they will melt into that liquid. Give it a stir. I find the jellified ones much better than the dried square things. course, if you've got any bones, you could have made your own stock if you want. So that all the sediment is now coming off the bottom. That's me coughing my head off. Here's the sliced garlic. Now I've put that in at this point because I didn't want to put it in with the veg and burn it, because if you burn garlic it goes horribly bitter. This is just tomato puree, and I'm adding probably about a tablespoonful. I'm going to give all this a good mix. And just pour this into the big pan over your vegetables and meat. Get out any bits in the bottom. As you can see, all them bits have gone now. They're now all in that gravy. It's looking good already. Now what I'm going to add to this, I'm going to add 2 tins of chopped tomatoes. You could use a bottle of tomato passata. I forgot the word then. Passata. But I'm using 2 tins of chopped tomatoes, which is the same difference. Strangely enough, the passata actually works out a bit cheaper than tins of tomatoes. I don't know why, but there you go. So we've got 2 tins of that, and give that a good stir. It should already be more or less seasoned right because of the stock cubes, but of course before I serve it I shall taste it to make sure that it's nicely seasoned. I've already added some ground pepper. That's Ted in the background. So that's more or less finished. I shall now place this on a low heat and cook it for, I don't know, probably 2 to 4 hours, and it will be absolutely delicious. You can serve this with boiled rice. You can serve it with, I like it on baked tatty. It's lovely, and this will do 3 of us for 2 days, so it's quite a very economical dish. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoy making it.